I don't know. I kind of feel like when we put it all into perspective, maybe not enough on some of these lists. That is huge, actually. Maybe even too much. They're down to 200 now for the 5 models.
Do you think we're going to see him a bit more now?
I hope so. In this video, we're going to be covering everything that you need to know in regards to the changes to Warhammer 40,000 as it stands with the Munitorum Field Manual, which is basically all the changes of points. Now, the reason why Games Workshop do this is to help the overall balance of the game, to ensure that we can have fairer, balanced, more competitive overall games at the tabletop. Everybody wants to make sure when they go there, they actually have a chance at, bringing the best army that they possibly can. And this is a great way to see, how these things are going to pan out with these changes. Now, Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm excited to get into these points. Yeah, where do you want to begin?
Well, I think it's first to note that there are some very big changes to some factions. So we're going to cover which factions are going up in points, which are going down, which are staying the same, which are having some ups and some downs. Now, in this review, we're also going to be telling you not just what's gone up, but we're also going to tell you how much by, and we're also going to be looking at some of those top lists that are currently wrecking everybody up the tournament scenes to see how they've been impacted.
Yes.
So I think it's probably worth we start in alphabetical order.
Let's do it. So the first faction we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
Adepta Sororitas.
Okay, so we've got some pretty ups and downs changes.
Yeah.
So Arco-Flagellants for 10 are up 10 points. Okay, Sacrosancts have come down 10 points for 10. Crusaders are up 10 for 2. What we tried to do as well is take the most commonly taken unit sizes and giving you the changes there, because we feel like that'll be the most practical. So Crusaders up 10. Demon Fuge down 10. Death Cult Assassins up 10. Mortifiers down 10. Pentanent Engines down 10. That's for 2 respectively, okay? Then we've got the Triumph is up 15. And also the Blade of St. Eleanor.
That's right, yeah.
Also up 10. Now everybody was taking. So some impactful changes here.
Yeah, some big changes.
To Sisters, mostly on those sort of mission playing units and those kind of force multipliers such as the Triumph. But I'm really interested by those changes to the Mortifiers personally.
Yep.
And the Pentanent Engines. I was looking at those as an option for my new Sisters army. So it's nice to see potentially them get a little bit of love.
Is there anything in here that you feel like's been let off lightly?
Oh, not really sure. I think...
Or maybe could have been brought down a bit more?
I don't know, actually. I think they're kind of all...
Yeah?
I actually think that's...
You happy with this?
I think I'm fairly happy with that, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I'm fairly happy with that.
Yeah. We do have a list we're going to run through for Sisters. So we'll do that at the end with all the other lists, right? So there's quite a few changes there.
Yeah, so we'll see how much. And we've picked some of the top lists from recent events in the last kind of, I suppose, since the last Balanced Data slate.
Yeah.
From some of the biggest super majors to see how they've changed. And they have really changed significantly. Okay, next up then is Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yes, AdMech.
Controversial because they didn't get any changes in the last Balanced Data slate, although that was actually after the release of the Codex, but Games Workshop didn't feel like there was enough data to support any changes. Now, I think the AdMech community would probably some different rules changes.
Yeah, which may happen in a future Balanced Data slate.
Who knows?
But right now we can only go off points changes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of decreases on units, so a lot more. You're going to see more units being used. Maybe some units looking more viable.
Yeah.
Potentially, so we've got Calls gone down 30 points, right?
Yep. Calls gone down 30. Robots down 20 for 2. Destroyers down 20 for 6. The Dune Crawler is down 10 for 1. The Rust Stalkers are down 10 for 5. The Rangers are down 10. The Disintegrators down 10, and the Scatros, yeah. Scatros, he's also down 5 as well.
Yeah, so there's some units now that maybe Cool might look a bit more viable now. That's a big points jump on him. 30 points is massive on Cool.
It is pretty significant, yeah.
And the robots as well with their detachment, maybe they look a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
If you play AdMech, let us know in the comments if you are happy with these points changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do, as we said, we do know that you would like probably rules changes.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of this document, so hopefully in the future something else could change there.
I'm loving those robots coming down personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be great to see more of those types of units on the table than just the traditional kind of AdMech list that we're seeing a lot of at the moment. Diversity is key, right?
Exactly.
So allow you to actually play the models that you've got and look at ways and means to actually get them on the table and have some fun with them.
We all love chickens, But we don't want mashed chickens.
We don't. Next up, the faction probably that's had more changes than Jake's changed his underwear in the last 6 months. So that is Aeldari.
A lot of changes to these guys.
Yes.
And we got more.
We've got even more changes.
We've got more. So it's an interesting one, this. There's certain units that we probably expected to go down.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, let's go over the downs first.
Yep.
So what has come down? And I think you're probably sat at home thinking, Eldar, points drops? What?
I know, what? Crazy.
Okay, let's go over it. Guardians down 10. Banshees down 30 for 10. Shining Spears down 40 points for 6. My Sam Hain army might be back on the table. Who knows? I'm really excited about that. Storm Guardians down 15. Striking Scorpions down 20 for a 10-man unit. So that's all the downs. And actually, I think they're pretty good because they're not the units that are currently being taken.
No.
And also the Army Rule and Fate dice don't really help those units out very much. So they're not really getting the benefits like most of the other army does, and they're not like shooting you and running away. These are more the combat units, which not many people are really leaning into.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, definitely. Good changes there. But stuff has gone up in points.
Yes, Fugan for up 15.
Sorry, Jake.
The one-man army, the person that could literally take down everybody and cause everybody a bad day. Fugan is up to 130 points, up 15.
Yeah.
The weapon platforms now, up 10. Okay, so they're up to 135 for a one-weapon platform. Swooping Hawks, up 5 for 5. Shadow Spectres up 10 for 5. And also the gem, the Phoenix gem that everybody takes is also up 10 as well.
Yeah, so you're probably seeing like a net increase here, aren't you? Of probably like 30, 40 points across your army.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, some of those meta builds really, if they've got a couple of units of Shadow Spectres, a couple of units of Hawks, maybe, and then the gem in probably, 40 to 50 points increase probably over the course of a list,
Yeah, definitely.
As a wargamer, you're going to know how important dice are to the game. You're going to know the memories that they create, whether they're good, the bad, the sixes, the ones. The most important thing is having quality memories with your friends. And it goes even further when you've got dice that match the theme of your army. Whether you play Ultramarines, Necrons, Orcs, Chaos Marines, it really doesn't matter. And the dice are a massive aspect of that. And it's my pleasure to announce our sponsor, the Baron of Dice. Check out the link in our description or go to www.baronofdice.com. Now here we have a secret nerf to Custodes.
Yes, a secret nerf. We're talking about the Agents of the Imperium. Now, Calidus, everyone's favourite vet, has gone up.
Up 10, 100 points.
Yeah.
One of the most versatile playing pieces in the entire Imperium faction. It can go up, it can come down. It's a lone operative character. It's got fights first. It's got everything. And it also makes your stratagems cost more. Very good for even 100 points, I think.
You're still going to see it. It's still a very strong piece.
It really is. Was it needed at the point of Imperium across the board? Yes. But unfortunately, Custodes really rely on it. So again, another little nerf to Custodes, and that is the Inquisitor Draxus, also up 10 points, up to 85 now. Draxus, we saw a lot joining those Guardians, so that it could double shoot, and you really get a lot of mileage out of Draxus when you attach it to a unit of Guardians that can shoot twice, rerolling all wounds on objectives. So shame to see that. Also, Henchmen up 10 points.
Yeah.
Now, I think Custody players were using Henchmen as an even cheaper unit of the Sisters of Silence. So now maybe you just take Sisters of Silence instead. Next up, this one's controversial.
Astra Militarum. Now, these guys are the big baddies at the moment in the current meta. I think everyone expected big points increases.
I am surprised by these changes.
Same. Very, very shocked. Very shocked. But let's go through it.
Yeah.
Let's look at what has increased in points.
Okay, so let's go on the nerfs.
Yeah.
Basilisk up 15 points.
Okay.
Bulgrin for unit of 6 up 20. Kassakin up 20 for the unit of 10. Manticore up 10. The Medusa up 15.
So we're seeing here probably like 50, 60 points up on the army.
Well, we'll cover that at the very end.
Yeah.
We've got a list we're going to take a look at. But there's a lot of decreases.
A lot of decreases, yeah.
Rough Riders down 10.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I'm actually not got an issue with that.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Hellhound down 10. Probably fine. The Hydra down 10.
No one's going to take it anyway, so yeah.
Here's the interesting ones. all the battle tanks, aside from one, are down 10. So the normal battle tank is down 10, the Eradicator, the Execution, the Exterminator, the Punisher, the Vanquisher are all down 10 points apiece. Okay? Surprised by that. And also, the Scions are down 5 points for 5.
This is probably the most shocking thing for me.
Yeah.
50 points for a unit that can reroll hits, that can deep strike.
I think if we just look at it simply from a 50-point mission playing piece that has inbuilt deep strike,
very, very strong.
It's very strong.
Yeah.
And can you bring this unit back to life?
Yeah, because it's regiment.
It's very good, especially late game. So it's after that turn 3 period where you'd normally have all the screens kind of, closing down and moving forward. This unit can start to come back, deploy a teleport homer, get in behind enemy lines. It's really, really strong. So I'm surprised by it, but we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out to see if it's impactful.
Yep.
I'm slightly worried people just swap out their Kassakin and they just put Scions in instead.
Yeah.
And actually it's a wash on what the points that they've gained.
Yeah.
So are we still going to see the most oppressive things about Guard still happen? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Time's going to tell on this one, right? But I think I think everyone can agree that this is a very shocking change. Yeah.
Now, it might only be a small amount because perhaps the Bulgrin are the ones that are really going to keep those most uninteractive lists higher.
True.
So that will be interesting as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what those kind of top players do with the lists, and we'll see how they sort of change. Okay, next up is Black Templars.
Yes.
I'm disappointed with these changes.
Oh, I can understand why.
There's one I agree with, and the others not so much.
Right. So what have we had changed?
Okay, so I'm going to look at this specifically from the perspective of somebody that plays pretty much a Black Templars army. Your Lancer, your Reaper, your Valiant, your Impulsor have all increased by 5 points because you essentially have a multi-melter.
Yeah.
Now, they're already more points than the traditional. So the Lancer, you're already more expensive than that regardless. The normal Space Marine one. Why are we seeing these changes? And I think it's because some people were taking 3 Gladiator Reapers and then taking 3 Black Templar Gladiator Reapers.
Yeah. So people were because there's no saying that you can't because they are different data sheets. So the rule that means you can only take 3 of each data sheet, you can get around it by taking Black Templars ones. Yeah.
Now the Lancer has got like a something stupid 72-inch range.
Yeah.
Are you really getting the most out of your multi-melter? No.
No.
Because you want to sit at the back. You're not really pushing this thing forward within 9 inches. The only units really, the Reaper and the Valiant, that get those uses, sure, they want to be pushing forward, but the Valiant has a terrible ability, generally speaking. And I just feel like it's a bit of a shame if you've got those Templar units in a Righteous Crusade. I used to run mine a Gladius detachment, so it's not like I'm getting the maximum benefit of these weapons. And the reason why your people are getting the maximum benefit of those weapons is because they're taking it in Ironstorm. And the way that their army detachment works, with a reroll a hit or a wound, and obviously the enhancements are really what was propping these units to be quite exceptional when you get an extra amount of shots. So I'm disappointed with that. I can see why the Crusaders have gone up. So the Crusaders have gone up 10 for the 5-man unit. Because you get all the good weapons in the first 5 models. And this is like the old school tactical kind of equivalent.
Yeah.
And Sword Brethren up 10 points for 5, which I do agree with. I think Sword Brethren, I used to use them in the right hands, very, very potent. And I'd happily pay 150 for 5 of those.
Yeah, agreed.
They do die very fast, but I think that's fair. I would never take 10 now though.
No, 300 for 10 is quite, because you're going to want a character.
Yep, and also the thing with the Sword Brethren, you get 1 Thunderhammer, you get 1 Lightning Claw, you get 1 Mastercrafter Power Sword.
Right.
So you get 3 good weapons in that squad, and all the others have just got power weapons. So you get the best of your abilities in the first 5 of the purchased, not the other 5.
You're not duplicating it again, you're just taking another 5 with, so realistically it probably should be like 260, 280, right? For 10 rather than a 300.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, slightly disappointed they were Templars, and I'm sure if you're a Templars player, you probably will be as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Blood Angels.
Yes.
Some controversial ones in here again.
Agreed.
Yep. let's go over the good things first.
Yeah, so the good things. So, Mephiston,
Down 10 points.
down 10 points.
I actually think he's viable now.
Time will tell on that one.
I think we had a long conversation about it, but I'd like to see him back on the table.
Yeah.
Is 10 points enough? Don't know. Maybe 20 points would have been.
I think probably putting him in like the 90, 80 point region probably would have made him a bit more viable.
Yeah.
Because you've got the options of the Judicia.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a discussion to be had there.
Yeah, that's what you're always going to compare him to is the Judicia for that fight first. Okay, the Death Dread is down 20 points.
Yeah, the Death Company Dreadnought going down 20 points is huge.
Yeah.
Very, very good unit there. Death Company Intercessors.
Down 10. I think this might be the cheapest 5-man unit you can possibly take.
Well, it's the same as Assault Intercessors.
75.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I think Assault Intercessors is still better.
oh, they trump them.
Yeah.
They trump them.
Okay, here's another one down. My favourite, the Sanguinary Guard, down 40 points for 10.
Yeah, so 310 points for 10 Sanguinary Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we spoke about this at length as well.
Yeah.
It's, for me, a rule change for them that needs to happen rather than points changes. I still think 310 points for 10 Sanguinary Guard. If you compare it to Death Company, which we'll come on to, Death Company still are much more...
They hit harder.
They hit harder, they got better rules. So there's that kind of duality to it. It's like, do you take this one or this one?
I think what I like about the Sangard is they actually get a lot from Oath of Moment.
Yeah.
So if you do need to use Oath of Moment, you've got a unit now that can actually use it and get a lot from it. So I don't hate it. I think you'd never see more than 10 because you only really get the one benefit by having the Warlord join it. Mm-hmm. So I think that is one of the things killing that unit is the fact that they've only got they're only one unit viable. You're not going to see more than that because of their thing really works around the Warlord and you can only take one.
Mm-hmm. But we have had quite a few points increases. Yeah,
so Death Company up 20 points. Death Company with jump packs also up 20 points, and these are both for 10.
Yeah.
Lamarte's up 10. So if you were running 10 Death Company jump packs with Lamarte's, you've just gone up 30 points.
Yeah, so the Death Company I can understand.
Okay.
Because they're a very strong unit. Mm-hmm. They're being used by everyone. Yeah. So I can understand by that logic. Mm-hmm. Lamarte's going up was probably unnecessary.
Yeah, 110, he's already expensive, yeah.
He's already expensive, and you're paying the tax on the Death Company.
Yeah. The Priest is up 10, and the Jump Pack Priest also up 10.
I think this is a bit unnecessary as well.
Yeah.
90 points, he gives a very strong ability, but 90 points, he's an upgrade to a unit. He's not a solo character, you're not using a unit to buff him. He's there to buff another unit. So if you take him, you're basically paying 90 points for an upgrade onto a unit.
Yeah, when you could just take another 5 models.
Yeah. In
your army for that cost.
Exactly.
Especially when we come on to later, some of the units that he could join.
Yeah.
Because they've had some drops.
Yeah.
So that's also interesting as well, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the whole, mixed around the Blood Angels. It'd be interesting to see how these kind of shake out and whether the list will change up or whether Blood Angel players will just drop things to find the points to carry on taking the same essential list.
Well, like in my list, it's gone up 50 points.
Right, okay.
So I've lost a lot of points.
Yeah.
So I'm now having to drop things to make my list a bit more viable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit, some of it's unnecessary, but some of it I can understand.
Yeah. Okay, so up next is Demons. Now, there are no changes to Demons.
No changes whatsoever.
Which is quite interesting. Now, they did have a lot of drops in the last one.
Yeah, the last one, they got a lot of decreases and a couple of increases.
And to be completely truthful, I don't know Demons well enough myself to really know where they stand in the meta at the moment in regards to their strength. But I think there are some strong Demon builds from what I've heard. So maybe they're potentially just cautious about making any changes at this time. Let us know in the comments if you're a Demon player what you think of these changes. You know, the fact that you haven't changed anything, is that good or bad for you? Because that's going to be really interesting for us to find out.
Yeah.
Now, find out tomorrow on our Members Lounge, where we're going to be covering all of our predictions in our new tier list. So we're going to look at all the different factions and where we feel like they're going to fall because of these changes going ahead. And if you want to join that Members Lounge, just become a VT member, and then you'll be able to get all the perks of being a member, such as the Discord access, extra content, being able to chat in our live battle reports, and also those live lounges. Massive thank you to Combat Cards for sponsoring this video, and also they have something very, very special for you. So using the QR code or the link below, you can enter the code Vanguard, and if you do that, you're going to get loads of extra benefits for this new Orc release. And also, Ghazghkull Thraka has arrived finally, and he is looking absolutely fantastic in the classic heavy metal box art. Use the code Vanguard and get coins, plasma, 40 Orc cards, and loads of extra benefits. So thank you, Combat Cards.
Chaos Knights next.
No changes here, Jordan.
No changes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we can put these and Imperial Knights in the same one because neither of them have had any changes. Now, these guys, I'm surprised to see maybe the big ones not take a little drop.
I'd have liked to have seen the big knights come down slightly. Yeah. I really would have. War Dog Spam, it really is a stat check army.
Yeah.
And it can feel really difficult to play against that. But I would have liked to see some big knights back on the table.
With Imperial Knights, you have to take a big knight, really, to get your buffs off with your bondsman abilities. But with Chaos Knights, there's no need for that. And there is a character little one, isn't there? So it would be nice to see like a bigger Chaos Knight brought onto the table a bit more.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they shake out in the meta. But obviously, Games Workshop obviously feel that they're in a good place.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if that stays the same with these changes. Maybe the factions that have been nerfed are the ones that are hindering the knights.
Yeah.
Which is why maybe they've stayed the same.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they shake out going forward.
Next up, Steve, Chaos Space Marines.
Yes. Now, this faction took quite a big nerf in the previous balanced data slate with some rules changes due to the stratagems and some of the other rules interactions as well. But they've had some huge points drops.
Yeah, no increases.
No.
All decreases.
I would actually say they're a big winner of actually this entire balance change.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some things on here like the Terminators going down. Now that Abaddon brick, it's looking a little less expensive.
Well, let's go over it. So, Chaos Bikes for 3 are down 10. Chaos Terminators for 5 are down 10 as well. So if you're running, a full 10, you're saving 20 points. The Chaos Vindicator, which I think is an underrated vehicle anyway, is down 15. The Cultist Mob, already cheap, down another 5. Cypher's down 15. Havoc's down 15. The Hellbrute is down 10. The Demon Prince, both Demon Princes are down 15. The Legionaries are down 10 as well, and they're a very good unit for the rules that they have. The Mauler Fiend is down 15. The Possessed are down 10. The Raptors are down 5. And the Venom Crawler down 10 as well.
Yeah, some interesting ones there. I mean, I think across the board, we're seeing the Mauler Fiends, the Vindicators, they're going down across all the Chaos factions, right?
And Space Marines.
And Space Marines as well, yeah, exactly.
Take them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But Possessed is a very interesting one.
Yeah, I think, 130 for 5 looks pretty good. I don't see any problem with that. A nice little trading unit at that points cost, where they could actually trade up as well and stick around long enough to then be a hindrance, certainly. So, yeah, Chaos Space Marine, if you're a Chaos Space Marine player, you should be very happy, I think, with these changes. And of course, as Games Workshop already announced, the Codex is on the roadmap.
Yeah.
So if we take, different things with a pinch of salt as to what's happened in the past, when we get onto the Orcs and the Custodes review at the very end of this, it might determine what you might see going forward as well.
Yeah. Right. Everyone's favourite Chaos faction, the Dark Angels.
Yeah, they're pretty secretive.
Very secretive.
And they've got some really good points drops.
Really good points drops.
Yeah, I think, let's go over them. So there are the Deathwing Knights are down 20 points.
That's good.
Yes, good. Does it make up for their lack or what they lost? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see if some start to make the table now.
Yeah, 100%.
With a 20-point drop. Deathwing Terminators are down to 180, so they're down 10 points.
Now, that's huge. That's huge, because if you look at a normal Terminator squad, which we'll talk about later, they have had a points drop, but still only 5 points cheaper or more expensive for these guys, and they get ignore modifiers. So this unit is got everything a normal Terminator squad's got.
Yeah.
But also ignores modifiers for 5 extra points.
Which is a very powerful rule, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, they're looking very good for that points cost.
Okay, Inner Circle Companions, they're down 30.
That's huge.
I like this unit, and I'd really like this unit at 180.
Yeah, 100%. For 6 of them, they're now at the same cost as a Blade Guard unit.
Yep.
So now there is a bit more decision on which ones you take.
I think you take a unit of these.
With Azrael, definitely.
Yeah, because Azrael then gives you the 4+ invulnerable save that you don't get from the Blade Guard, but these guys can hit harder.
Yeah.
Because of the lethal sustained combos that you can get. So I think, Inner Circle Companions 1 unit is probably an auto-include of Azrael now.
Yeah, agreed. And the big dog himself, or lion. Yeah, big lion.
Big cat.
The big cat himself.
Yeah.
Lionel Johnson, down 50 points, Steve.
Massive.
50 points. Do you think we're going to see him a bit more now?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, because I actually think his fight first rule is very strong, but and he's super hard to kill.
Yeah.
I think for 300 points, he's good. I think he's really, really good.
I mean, to be fair, with the nerfs he was given from the index to the codex, I think 300 points is a lot fairer.
Yeah.
With the, obviously, because he lost the -1 to wound and stuff like that. Whereas now he's looking pretty tasty at 300 points.
I think so, yeah. He still puts out some good damage.
Okay, Steve, your favourite faction?
Yes.
Death Guard.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Any changes?
Just the one change, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Hellbrute.
So I think it's easy enough for us to clarify here that every single Chaos faction, the Hellbrute has gone down.
Yeah, so it's down 10.
Yeah.
Death Guard players, I think you've got off lightly.
Yeah, agreed. Typhus at 80 is criminal.
Yeah, straight on Reddit.
Yeah.
Stephen Box thinks, here we go.
Oh, I just chucked myself into it.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, why am I with you?
Death Guard are in a good place at the moment.
Definitely.
And I think we're only going to see those numbers keep on increasing with their win rates.
Yeah.
So
the Hellbrute is actually really strong for the Death Guard.
Yeah.
Because he shoots a target and then they gain the
Contagion.
the contagion range then, don't they? Which is very strong.
Yeah. So I think, Death Guard players should be pretty happy with that you've had no changes.
No, exactly. But Deathwatch are next. Now, no changes here.
No changes. Obviously, they pick a lot of units from the Space Marine Codex, so when we actually come to that, you'll find out a little bit more. But no changes for those Deathwatch units.
Yeah, do you think we should have seen some changes to maybe their kill teams, some of the kill teams that weren't seeing any action?
Maybe, but again, I wouldn't. It's one of those that, honestly speaking, I haven't seen enough of to know what would warrant needing changes.
Yeah.
So I'd be kind of just making stuff up on the fly. So in all true transparency, it's not something I would be able to comment on, really, whether they deserved any drops or not.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, the next one, Drukhari.
Yes.
No changes here. Surprising, right?
Yeah. Units like, for example, Hellions, I'd have liked to have seen come down because they really struggle on the tabletop due to the way that fly works. I wouldn't have mind seeing some drops for Drukhari.
Yeah.
I think with the new detachment that they got in the balanced data slate, they really heavily rely on vehicles to ensure that their army rule even works. So maybe some of those vehicles potentially coming down, maybe having a little bit more redundancy there with some extra vehicles that you can just hop in to get those benefits.
Yeah, sure.
Might have been a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they pan out. They've got some good units, like the Scourges are really good. So it'd be interesting to see what Drukhari players do in this kind of new meta as we go on.
The next one, Genestealer Cult, another faction we're not seeing too much of at the minute.
No.
They have had some points decreases.
Yep.
What are they?
So Aberrants are only down 10 for a unit of 10. And I actually think they probably could come down a little bit more. I think they could have been, 350.
Yeah.
For maybe 10, but Ridge Runners down 10. That's not bad. The Rock Grinder down 25 points.
Interesting.
I think that's good. And then the Truck is down 20 as well.
So some big drops on like the bigger vehicles then. Do you think we're going to see them more in the armies?
I think the Goliath Rock Truck's not bad. It's got the ability to do mortals on the charge, obviously combine that with tank shock. It can certainly get you out of those little holes where, maybe you need to get damage through. I think the issue with these units is that they're not going to get any benefit of their army rule.
True.
Because obviously they're not coming back. And especially with the Aberrants as well, if they do come back, they're normally coming back in a place where they're not really usable because of how much time it takes to get to the enemy unit again. It's not like with some of the other units that can just come down from deep strike and make those charges. So it's interesting to see this. Will I think it will shake up the list? I'm not sure. Would we start seeing, Rock Grinders, 3 of those with little units inside to trade? Maybe. And that would be a pretty decent way, I think, to see Genestealer Cult play, as well as having these units dropping in nice and close and doing bombs to you. So yeah, to supplement the gameplay a bit more. Yeah.
Cool. Next one, Grey Knights.
Grey Knights, yeah, some ups and downs here. We've seen some Grey Knight lists do pretty well, and the units that are getting nerfed, the Librarian is up 10, the Tech Marine is up 10, and the Nemesis Dread Knight is also up 10. However, the Inceptor squad, the Purgation, the Purifiers, and the Strikes, they are all down 5 points per unit of 5. So if you save 5 points if you take 5, you save 10 points if you take a unit of 10. Now, some of these units, the ones which you can only take 4 heavy weapons in, you're never going to take a unit of 10.
Yeah.
So that's a 5-point drop. If you went for the silencers or the side cannons or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it hurts bringing down some of these units in points a little bit just to give them a little bit more play, because we were just seeing like the Dread Knight spam and then also Land Raiders weirdly. There's a sort of strange combo, but yeah, it'd be nice to see some of these more like smaller units. And 120 points for a unit of Strike Marines, which are strength 6, -2, 2 damage.
Yeah, and they have sticky objectives, which is quite a strong rule, especially with their auto advance 6 and fly and
coming off the table, coming back on. Yeah,
exactly. So I think these units do have play in an army. Like a well-rounded Grey Knights list, you do tend to see a bit of these units. If Crow's in the army, you'll see Purifiers, usually like a 10-man brick.
Yeah.
So I think some lists will even out. But then you're going to see like those heavy, as you said, those heavy Dread Knight lists really suffer from these points changes.
Yeah, there were units that are just spamming Dread Knights and Librarians and Tech Marines. Of course, you're going to have to make some cuts somewhere. But the overall well-balanced list, they'll probably wash out.
Yeah, exactly. So we've spoken about Imperial Knights. No changes.
No.
Probably, as we mentioned, probably could have seen some points reductions there. But Leagues of Votann, these guys have had some points decreases, right?
Yeah, they were interesting because Votann were doing very, very well pre-balanced data slate. And they've got some benefits here. They had like a light touch in the last balanced data slate. Warriors are down 10 points. And also, Uthar, the Destined, is also down 10.
He is, yeah. I know Jake's run Uthar before and he really likes him. Warriors, I'm pretty sure, are in every list as well, like one unit.
At least
one unit. So that's going to be some points dropped. I mean, I don't know whether that then makes more wiggle room for a different type of unit potentially.
I think what it pretty much does, certainly speaking to Jake, our Votann expert, it allows him to put some enhancements back in his list.
Right, okay, cool. That's good then, isn't it?
Which he's really happy about.
Yeah.
And the fact that they haven't changed much, like the Sagittars are still a very common take. They haven't changed. I think Leagues of Votann players have got off pretty lightly here, actually.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Sagittar didn't go up because we were seeing quite a lot of them, and maybe the Terminator ones, the Hearthguard.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't go up a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll have to see how the meta shakes out here, right? Probably the second biggest baddie right now of the current 40k meta.
Might even say the biggest.
You reckon the biggest over Guard?
Probably, yeah.
Necrons.
Yes, Necrons.
Necrons, right. There is a whole heap of uppy downies.
Literally, yeah. Some are up, some are down. And some maybe unnecessary reductions. But, hey, I think it will be interesting to see how these all shake out.
Yep.
Let's go over the nerfs first.
Let's do it.
The Nightbringer is up 40 points.
I think everyone expected this.
So he's now 295.
Yeah.
He is the cost of the Lion, essentially.
Yeah.
Who's better, though? The Lion or the Nightbringer?
Well, the Nightbringer halves all damage and has a Feel No Pain.
So probably the Nightbringer.
Yeah.
The Nightbringer's probably still better than the Lion.
I reckon so. Damage-wise, it probably does as much, if not more damage than the Lion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think he's still worth it. But what we're going to see is less things taken if you want to take this Catan list spam that people are taking currently. Yeah,
I think that list is long gone.
Yeah.
The Catan spam list.
Yeah.
I think it's the two main lists are the Hypercrypt and also
the Canoptic Court.
The Canoptic Court, yeah, with the 18 Wraiths and the, infiltrating unit, whatever. So, and then supported by the Catans as well. So anyway, the Nightbringer's up 40, the Void Dragon's up 20, the Chronomancer is up 15, the Illuminor Ceres is up 15, Immortals up 5, the Monolith up 25, the Plasmancer is up 10, and then you've also got the Technomancer up 25, the Transcendent Catan up 10, And also the Dimensional Overseer enhancement that allows you to pick 4 units to go up and down is up 15 points.
Yeah.
Massive increase there. So some big changes overall.
Yeah, massive changes. These are characters like the Chronomancer, the Plasmancer, etc. These are characters we were seeing taken in multiples.
Yeah.
They're very, very strong. Mainly seeing them, as you said, on the Wraith Brick with the Technomancer, or you were seeing the Chronomancer, Plasmancer with Immortals.
Yeah.
Now, with the Immortals going up as well, you're going to see a lot of these lists having to change dramatically.
Yeah.
Especially if they're taking Catan or a Monolith.
Yeah.
There's some big, big changes here.
I am shocked not to see the Wraiths go up.
Same. I don't know whether or not they're thinking maybe the Technomancer going up 20 is going to help that, but I do think they probably should have gone up a little bit. Even like 10 points, 5 points. But yeah, there's still some big hits here.
The stack of the Invulnerable Save and the Feel No Pain is pretty...
It's very strong.
Is pretty extensive. There's other units that we've already spoke about, such as the Sanguinary Priest. Similar concept.
Yeah.
But the unit you're affecting doesn't have those amount of wounds, can't regenerate, and how many points is the Sanguinary Priest with jump pack?
He was 90, he's now 100.
Right, so they pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
One of them is only costing 65.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's a massive... I mean, if you, as you just mentioned, with the Wraiths, they're 4 wounds a model, or is it 4 or 5 wounds each model?
4.
And then you're getting all that on top of it, and there's so many other ways to make these units stronger, more durable. Whereas really with units such as, like we mentioned, with like the Vanguard Vets and the Sanguinary Priest, that don't get these extra defensive benefits, they just get what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
And like you said, reanimation as well was another layer of durability added on top.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to see that the Technomancer has gone up. But yeah, I'm shocked that they didn't do the Wraiths.
You know, their current points at 110, even if they would have gone up to 115.
Yeah.
Because I think that just is a very good little package for a unit that comes with an inbuilt 4-up invulnerable save. So
yeah, you're still going to see it. I don't think it's going to deter too much.
I actually think with these changes, the Canoptic Court is still probably the strongest.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they're not relying on like the Monolith going up 25 points is huge. So anyway, let's go over some of the
decreases.
Yeah. So the Catacomb Command Barge is down 20, Deathmark's down 5. I was slightly surprised by that because they've obviously got inbuilt Deep Strike.
Yeah.
The Flayed One's down 10, Ophidian Destroyer's down 10, Scorpek Destroyer's down 10 for 3, and also the Scorpek Lord down 20. You know, those Ophidian Destroyers that can come off the table, come back on for, 3 of those is 90 points. Now, it's not too bad for a unit that can obviously add that little bit of extra mission play for you as well. So, yeah, on the whole, pretty good. I think Necrons you've got off pretty lightly.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just the Catan build, I think, has really been the one that's hit pretty hard.
Yeah, we do have a couple of lists at the end, as we mentioned, which we're going to run through, which will show you how many points it's increased by and decreased by.
Yeah.
Right, Steve, Space Marines are next. Some really good changes, I think.
Yep.
And some things that we kind of expected.
Yeah. So we'll go over the things that are the nerfs first. Eliminators are up 10. Mostly because people were using them to double shoot because of the impulsors. So
Jake.
They're up 10. The Storm Raven gunship is up 20.
But yeah, we expected that with the Iron Storm build.
Yeah,
it was very strong in that.
With an inbuilt -1 damage, and especially you just have something that gives it stealth and cover, like the Dark Shroud, Dark Shroud nearby. It's very strong, where you can blanket damage on a very durable unit. I think up 20 is pretty, again, a light touch there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Adept of the Omnisaur in the Ironstorm, and also the Master of Machine War. Those 2 enhancements, both up 10 as well.
Yeah.
They probably could have gone up more.
Probably could have gone up more. But to be fair, if we look at it for what is being taken in Ironstorm, you've obviously got the Target Augury Web as well, which is 40 points. And then now you've got 30 and 35 points on each of those respectively. So that's going to be 100-odd points you've got to spend.
But does it change the lists? That's the impactful thing, right? Is regardless of the amount of points you spend on these enhancements, does it actually change the list constructions, or are they still going to be delivering the same amount of damage that they currently do? The Eliminators, okay, cool. If you were taking Ironstorm Eliminators, not everybody was, but let's assume you are, That's 10 points there. The Impulse has not gone up, so that's just literally a 10-point increase.
Yeah.
If you were taking it, the Storm Raven's gone up 20, so that's 30 points. And then you've got these two. So that Ironstorm list is only lost 50 points.
Yeah. It's not really been hit as hard as it probably could have.
This list, I think, is still going to stay. It could even push up to number one now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this has been hit hard enough, personally.
I mean, we do, obviously, if they do look at it, maybe they will look at rules changes, potentially.
Maybe.
That's something that potentially could...
In the future, maybe, but not for the next quarter.
No. For the next quarter, this is obviously...
What we've got.
So looking at that, they have got off really lightly.
They really have.
Yeah.
Because I think now with the Vindicator coming down to 175, this starts to look like a viable tank that you would put in instead of some of those others that maybe you were taking. So let's go over some of the buffs as well that the Space Marine players have got. Assault Intercessor with jump packs down to 80 points. I thought 85 was cheap, but now 80 is very good
cheap
for that unit.
Very cheap.
The Brutalis Dreadnought is down 15, which is nice to see because we weren't seeing much of that. Hellblaster's down 10 for 5. Incursors, I think, were a good unit anyway, and they were sat on the fence for me as whether I take them. Now they're down 5 points for 5. They start to look more enticing than Scouts now.
Yeah.
There's some builds where I think Incursors are really good, hitting that target, getting that +1 to hit, and having Scout move, being able to put this unit in an Impulsor, Scout moving the Impulsor up 6, and then you get the 3-inch disembark and your move of 6. This Incursor unit's really shifting turn 1 to get in the same position where Scouts could.
I mean, they always have Assault as well, because they've got Assault on their weapons. So that's another additional mission playing feature that they've got. So I agree. I think they're a very strong unit.
Okay, Tactical Space Marines down 20 points for the 10-man team. And then Terminator's Assault and Terminator Squads both down for 10 points for 5 models. The Vindicator down 15. So Space Marine players, especially those Ironstorm players as well that were taking the Dark Angel build, you've got off very lightly.
Yeah, I'm very shocked that Hellblasters have come down.
Yeah, the Dark Shroud as well, actually. Thinking about the combinations of that, personally, I'd have liked to have seen the Dark Shroud go up just because of it is this really hard thing to kill because it normally is hidden.
Yeah.
It's easy to hide. And then obviously it's, scoring mission playing for you, along with being such a force multiplier to all the Dreadnoughts and all the other vehicles nearby. So this can be interesting to see how the Ironstorm maybe goes to number 1 spot. Who knows?
Yeah. Right, next we've got Space Wolves. So Wolfguard Terminators and Wolfguard Scouts, both down 10 points.
Yep.
Nice little change here.
Yeah, I mean, would it have been nice to see some of the characters to come down potentially? Just to really make them feel like, a Space Wolf army, to bring in some of those more named characters because that's what they're so iconic for. But again, it'd be interesting to see how they shake out. The Cavalry, their points cost. What are the Cavalry actually?
Thunderbolts, they're 90 for 3, 180 for 6.
So actually they're in the same price as Blade Guard? It's not bad.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't need to come down. If they would have come down anymore, probably too cheap.
I do think the Stormlance Space Wolf list is fairly strong. It's all terrain dependent.
Yeah.
But I do think for 90 points for 3, 180 for 6, and then a character added to that, it is still a very strong unit. It can deal with a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Space Wolves, look, it's just a couple of nice little bonuses, I guess.
It's their detachment that I think is the thing that really let them down, yeah.
Tau.
Yes, Tau.
So, no changes?
No, so this is strange because obviously the Codex came out in the box set quite some time ago now, but general release not out yet, as in terms of recording this. So Tau players you've got off very lightly, I think. Yeah,
I mean, if we're just looking at what we've got here, obviously we're not looking at the new crisis suits or anything like that, so there's none of the updated profiles. So this is going off the index. Yeah. This isn't going off the codex.
So it's going to be unknown as to what happens with those.
Yeah, exactly. Until the codex comes out on public, which as of recording is out in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
We're sticking with these points for now.
Yeah. Yep.
Thousand Sons.
Yeah, Thousand Sons, interesting army, Thousand Sons. They're one of the highest skill level armies at the moment.
Agreed.
And Thousand Sons are either at the top of the tables or at the bottom.
Yeah, if a player has mastered the Thousand Son army and the tricks that they can pull off, they can really be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But they can also be one of those armies that give you kind of decision fatigue as the player and playing against.
Yeah, knowing what all those rituals do is a nightmare to keep track of as an opponent. I played against them twice at the weekend. But here's what has changed. Terminators are down 15 points for 5.
Pretty big.
That is huge, actually. Maybe even too much. They're down to 200 now for the 5 models.
Yeah, do you think we're probably going to see more of these? Because at the minute, in the current competitive environment, we're seeing just rubric spam.
Yeah.
Do you think Terminators are looking better now for their points?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. They weren't a bad unit, and I've been on the receiving end of those anyway, so... Yeah, I don't think they're bad at all. Cultist down 5 to stay in line with obviously the other Cultist models. Demon Prince down 15, both versions. The Hellbrutes down 15. The Mauler Fiends down 15. The Vindicator is also down 15 as well. And obviously that stays consistent with all the other Chaos books.
Yeah.
Like that we've already shown off so far. Now, the Arcane Vortex is up 10, and also the Lord of Forbidden Law is also up 10 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are both things, along with the Umbralific Crystal, that are just being taken in every list. So it's not really a surprise to see them go up.
No. So that will affect those top lists that we're seeing, but maybe, a couple of those dropped, and actually that's probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the units that have been dropped in points, they're not units that are being taken. So I think what we're seeing here is just maybe GW trying to go tempt people to take other units more, rather than the same list, basically.
I mean, I think again here, Thousand Suns could be going right up to the top spot. They're going to be certainly fighting for that in the right hands.
Definitely. Now we've got Tyranids. Now this army has struggled in the current meta, but we've had quite a lot of points decreases.
Yeah.
So what are the first ones that we got?
Well, let's go over the unit that's going up first. There's only one of them.
Yeah.
And it's Gargoyles are going up 5 points.
Gargoyles are probably the best data sheet in the Codex.
Yeah.
They probably didn't need to as they're struggling a little bit, but to be fair, look, 85 points, you're still taking it.
Yeah.
They're still very, very good. Shoot and scoot. It's great rule.
Yeah. Super fast as well. Barb Gaunts are down 5.
Okay.
The Hive Guard are down 10 for 3. Lictor is down 5. The Psychophage is down 30. The Swarm Lord is down 30 points to 240. That's a big drop. Now, Tyranid Warriors are down 10 with melee weapons for 3, and ranged weapons are down 5 for 3 as well. Some pretty big savings there.
Yeah.
Then you've also got Tyrant Guard for 3 are down 10, and also the Zoanthropes for 3 are down 10 as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest one here is the Swarm Lord.
Yeah.
So he's now 5 points more expensive than a Hive Tyrant.
Yep.
No one would take a Swarm Lord over a Hive Tyrant because the Hive Tyrant gives you that free stratagem within 12 inches, and he also gives everyone within 6 assault. Whereas a Swarm Lord's giving you extra CP, he hits like a ton of trucks, so he's looking a lot more tempting, and it's more of a decision now on what you would prefer.
He hits like a ton of trucks.
Like a ton of trucks.
I think it's a ton of bricks.
Well, a ton of biomass.
The ton of bricks is the same as a ton of trucks.
Is it the same as biomass?
It's all, a ton is a ton.
Okay, yeah.
You could have a ton of feathers.
That's a lot of feathers.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think these are very positive changes for the Tyranids overall. Is there other things that could have gone down?
Just a whole ton of points here, there, and everywhere. Just gone down, yeah.
Ton of points. I think the Northern Simulator just could have had a ton of points changes there as well. Yeah. But, yeah.
Would it tempt me to play Tyranids? I don't think so, personally.
What, in terms of all the points changes now?
I dislike their army rule.
Right, so what we're saying here is it's more of a faction ruling that needs to change rather than points.
For me, yeah, I don't like... Is Battle Shock shenanigans as a mechanic doesn't appeal to me as a player. I know it does to some people. It just doesn't for me. That's all. So, yeah, it's just a play style thing. Whereas I like the Vanguard detachment for the Tyranids, super fast with these Tyranid warriors coming down, like the Tyranid Prime going with them to give them the keywords that you need. I don't know, maybe. But there we go anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I do think that maybe the Tyranid rule is very lackluster, because if you look at half the armies in the game are Marine armies.
Yep.
Probably over half. And they've all got leadership 6.
Yeah.
So with your Tyranid rule, you kind of always have to put in a Neuro Tyrant just for the extra -1 on that Battle Shock.
Mm-hmm.
And even then,
Yeah.
it's still a
50-50.
50-50 chance that they're going to pass it.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So yeah,
That's
agreed.
it.
Cool. And then we've got one last faction here, the World Eaters.
Yeah, it actually not too bad. So Jackal's down 5 for 10. Khorne Berserker's down 20 for 10. The Hellbrute's down 10. The Mauler Fiend's down 15. And also the Terminator squad as well is down by 10 points as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, again, some nice little changes here. I don't mind the Terminators for World Eaters, but we never see them.
No, I mean, we've literally seen the same data sheets continually for World Eaters.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the Mauler Fiend drops might see more of them.
Maybe.
Because I do think they have a very good rule. The +2 to charge and stuff against units that have lost some wounds.
Yeah.
They can do a bit of damage for you. Especially with Vanguard looking less appealing.
Yeah.
And people leaning more towards like the 8-bound spam. Hopefully we can start seeing a few other units sprinkled in there like Mauler Fiends, Hellbrutes. But Jackals and Berserkers going down.
But yeah, that's good because people are taking those anyway. And also the Master Executioner going up in the last balanced data slate, the Berserkers coming down kind of makes that a wash.
Yeah.
Everyone was taking at least 1 to 2 units of Jackals, so some point savings there. Maybe that's some enhancements back in that you weren't taking. Interesting, the Demon Princes didn't come down.
Yes.
Because obviously all the others have.
Yeah.
But the Terminators, you know, a unit of 5 of those for 180 that can come down, rapid ingress, and then +2 move, advance in charge, auto advance 6. You got a pretty fast unit now, which is typically normally slow. So when you can flip its weakness on the head and now make it very quick, it's not a bad little unit.
Well, especially a 2+ save unit.
2 up, 4 up. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's the only issue I think would be there's no characters that can lead them.
Yeah, sure.
If World Eater players could get a Terminator Lord or something, then that would maybe spice them up a little bit, and I could 100% see that more.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, now we've got some lists. So that is all the changes, all the factions gone through. We've picked 5 top lists from 5 really good players.
Yep.
And we're going to look at how this has affected their lists.
Okay.
Right, so the first one we're going to look at is Canoptek Court list.
Okay.
From Josh Roberts.
Yep.
And basically, he's got Illuminor Zeras, 2 Plasmancers, well, 3 Plasmancers, a Technomancer with a Dimensional Corridor enhancement, and 2 other Technomancers. We've got 3 units of 5 Immortals.
Yep.
2 units of Canoptek Anchorithrites, which are the Forge World unit.
Yep.
We've got 2 Canoptek Doomstalkers, 3 units of 6 Wraiths, and 1 Lockhurst Destroyer.
Okay, so no Catans in this list.
No Catans.
Okay.
But this has gone up 135 points.
Mostly from characters, I'm assuming. Then.
Mostly from characters, and the Immortals went up a little bit as well.
Yeah, okay. So that Canoptek Court list losing
135 points. To put it into perspective, that's one of the Canoptek Doomstalkers out to get the points back.
Just one Doomstalker.
One Doomstalker.
How much is that Lockhurst Destroyer?
30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's probably okay then, isn't it? Like, I don't think if I was playing up against that list, I'm not really worried about that Canoptek Doomstalker. One less of those, functionally.
Yeah.
This is still a very strong list.
Is it taking away the Wraiths? No.
No, they're staying still.
Are you losing any of your characters? No.
Maybe you don't need all the Plasmancers.
Yeah.
To support the Immortals.
Yeah, exactly.
You could make some changes there. So they can't. I think, is it the Plasmas that allows you to shoot after you've moved?
I believe so, yeah. But you could have him and the Immortals go, and you've got still 10 points over, but you could probably wiggle room something there, right? But yeah, it's not hit it hard enough, I think, to make the Wraiths less viable.
Exactly that, yeah.
And that's going to be the issue here. I think if the Wraiths went up, now you look at them instead of looking elsewhere to take out, right?
Yeah, you just go, cool, like you said, we drop the Canoptek Doomstalker, and it's still a pretty viable list, Or you drop 1 unit of Immortals, 1 Plasmancer in the Lockhurst Destroyer.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, fine.
So, but you still got 18 Wraiths with a 4 up, 5 up.
Yeah.
Unmovable bricks. It's still a menace. So yeah, overall, probably Canoptek Court probably needed to be hit a little harder.
They've got off pretty lightly, I think.
Very lightly.
Yeah.
Very lightly. Now we've got the one and only Matt Laura.
Yeah.
And his Hypercrypt Necrons list.
We love you, Matt.
We love you, dude.
Now this is Matt's. He plays for Team Vanguard Tactics, and he won the LVO with this list.
Yeah. So this is his LVO winning list. Now this has gone up 180 points.
Wow.
Yeah, 180.
Okay.
It's a lot of points.
So Hypercrypt this time.
Hypercrypt, he's got Illuminor Zeras,
Yeah.
2 Chronomancers, one with the Osteoclave Fulcrum and one with the Dimensional Overseer.
Okay.
A Plasmancer with the Arisen Tyrant enhancement. Then we've got a Nightbringer Catan, we've got a Void Dragon Catan, and Imhotep.
Okay.
A lot of characters, and we've seen a lot of increases on points on those characters.
Yeah.
And obviously the Dimensional Overseer, that also increased in points. So that Chronomancer has gone up even more. Then we've got 3 units of 10 Immortals, all gone up 10 points each.
Ooh, yeah.
2 units of 3 Scarabs.
Okay.
We've got 5 Death Marks, 3 individual Lockhurst Destroyers.
Yeah.
And then we've got a Monolith as well.
Yeah, so I think it's those Immortals really racking up those points, yeah, because he's taking those 10s.
Yeah, the Immortals racking up the points, the Monolith going up 25.
So what gets dropped from this list, do you think?
For 180 points,
how many points are the Immortals for 10?
they're 140. So you could drop an Immortal and one of the characters that go with them.
And
You're losing one of the enhancements. You probably want to keep Dimensional Overseer, because you want that extra unit going into Deep Strike, because it's the detachment rule, right? So you want to manipulate that as much as possible.
If you feel like you need it, though, you might not with this list. If you're losing a unit of Immortals, though, as well.
Exactly. So it kind of depends on what you want to lose and how it's going to change the function. I think this has had more of an impact.
Yeah.
The changes have impacted Hypercrypt rather than Canoptek.
And I would actually I would prefer to play against this list than I actually would the Canoptek.
It's more interactive. For sure. I mean, we've seen it with Grey Knights. We've with the coming off and on with that detachment rule.
Yeah.
It's something that is not unique to Necrons.
Yeah.
Whereas the Canoptek Court, there isn't an army right now that is as durable and kind of unimmersive for your opponent, because
it bogs you down.
Yeah.
That's how it plays. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think it's just a case of whether or not you look at taking out some Immortals and something else, maybe some Scarabs as well.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, hit very hard, that one. Right, now we've got a Dark Angels Ironstorm list.
J.
Plays
for Vanguard Tactics as well.
It did very well at Beachhead with this list.
Yeah.
Now, this has only been hit by 40 points.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough.
No. Does it take away from the list? Absolutely not.
Put it this way, me and Jay played at Beachhead. And this was for the round where whoever won this game comes second.
Right.
Jay won the game. He went first, and it was a very first turn dependent because both our armies. I needed to go first to get some of those vehicles off the table.
Right, sure.
He did and killed my Land Raider.
Ah.
Now my list, my Black Templars list, has lost 30 points already.
Yeah.
Because of the 3 units of Sword Brethren. So if I was to play this game again, I've lost 30 points. I also had a Valiant in my list as well, which has gone up another 10. So I also lost 40 points.
Yeah. So when you compare both lists, one that, I mean, Jay's army, he's very good with this list as well. But this list has been taken by quite a lot of players now. It's quite a common top table army. Is 40 points really affecting that? No. I
mean, I was literally tabled by turn 3.
Yeah.
Essentially. For what it's worth, yeah.
It's like you mentioned, like with the Dark Shroud, that probably should have gone up as well.
Yeah.
I think Redemptors are fine at 210.
Yeah, the Redemptor Dreadnought.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But the issue here is all the supplement units that make this list strong.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have liked to see the Dark Shroud go up, yeah, and maybe even Azrael as well.
Yeah, I think like when we start looking at adding these points, like we just said, to the Dark Shroud, to Azrael, like maybe the Tech Marines going up as well because they're very cheap.
Yes.
I'm surprised the Tech Marines didn't get hit.
But the Grey Knight ones did, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That would have meant that we're probably seeing 90 to 100 points increase.
Yeah.
And then that means you've either got to lose your Infiltrators or something else in this list.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're looking at changes probably needed to be made on that.
Yeah.
Now we've got Astra Militarum list from the recent Oxford, Nassim. He ran this list, did very well. Now, we've got Lord Solar Leontus, we've got a platoon command squad, 2 tank commanders, and Ursula Creed.
Yeah.
We've got 2 units of 10 Catachan jungle fighters.
Okay.
We've got 1 Basilisk, 3 units of 6 Bullgrin.
Ooh, yeah.
2 units of 10 Kassakin, 2 Manticores, and a Scout Sentinel.
Right, okay, cool.
So basically, this list is just a car park of artillery.
Yep.
And then all these Bullgrin just sit in the front and just soak up every bit of damage coming at the...
A smooth block you and just get in the way,
Yeah, exactly. So it's been hit by 135 points, which is big. The Basilisk and the Manticore probably could have gone up more though.
135 points for that list.
Yeah. Right, but let's put it into perspective, right? They've been hit with points change decreases elsewhere.
Yes.
So Scions probably could come in now.
Well, yeah, you could just swap out some.
You could literally put 4 units of Scions in for the 2 Kaskin. And you're still saving
a lot of points.
40 points.
Yeah. So then actually you're only at a 90 point. We're not putting 4 units in because then that would break the rules of the game, right? But
well, true. Yeah.
3 units.
Yeah, 3 units.
So you put 3 units in instead of the 2 units of Kassakin for your mission play.
And you've pretty much made your points now.
And you've made your points. So then we're still, the obnoxious part is the Bullgrin and also the Manticores and the
Basilisk.
And the Basilisk. That's staying.
Yeah.
So the amount of damage that's being spat out every single turn indirectly is still there.
Yeah.
They've just swapped some mission playing pieces around, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
is it going to be enough?
What I'm seeing so far is the points aren't enough in these situations.
Yeah.
I think maybe we probably need further changes to be made for it to have an impact on these top lists.
Yeah. I agree with that summary, yeah.
We've got one last list, though.
Yeah.
We've got an Adepta Sororitas list.
Yeah.
Played by Vic at Oxford again. He won it. So really strong list. He's got Saint Celestine, the Triumph of Saint Catherine, a Canoness with the Blade of Saint Eleanor, 10 Battle Sisters, 3 units of 10 Arco-Flagellants, 3 units of 5 Seraphim, a unit of 10 Zephyrim, a unit of 5 Zephyrim, 2 units of 2 Crusaders, 3 Castigators, 2 Rhinos, and an Immolator.
Yeah.
Whew.
A lot.
That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and congratulations, Vic. You did fantastic at the weekend. So, well done, mate.
Definitely.
What's the list gone up by?
75 points.
75, yeah.
So you played Sisters at the weekend. So you have a bit more of a knowledge on Sisters in terms of playing them and maybe what needed to come up and what didn't.
Yeah. But I actually think they're about right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the points that have gone up, definitely on the Crusaders, they're way too cheap for what they deliver.
Yeah, 4-up invul on these guys, right?
I mean, okay, so you've got to disregard the 4-up invul.
Okay, right.
Because, I mean, a strong gust of wind will take these 2 down.
Oh, right, okay, like a truck. Ton of trucks.
A ton of trucks will take these guys down.
Right, okay.
It's not that. It's the fact that you've got these 2 little models that could just go and do an objective for you.
True. For 25 points, yeah.
That's the issue with them.
Yeah. Do they give you Miracle Dice too?
Yeah, when they die, yeah. So they're like Miracle Dicing, it's
multi-purpose kit. So Arco's going up 10.
That's right, yeah. They're a very good unit.
Very strong.
They're durable, they can hit really hard into the right targets. So yeah, I think they're probably about right to go up 10 points. I mean, the fact that we're seeing pretty much at least 20, I would have taken 30 if I had them. I only had 20, so I only took 20.
Yeah.
So that is a clear reason for that unit to go up,
Yeah, for sure. So, 75 points, you could probably drop 1 unit of Seraphim and something else for 10 points, right? Then you're sorted.
Yeah. But I actually like some of the other units now look a bit playable for the Sisters. Again, Sisters a bit like Thousand Sons, high skill level army, in the right hands, like Vic. Jack also played at the weekend, did fantastic with Sisters. So, yeah, the Triumph is a real good force multiplier and also a very durable unit as well. So yeah, seeing that go up probably makes sense. And everyone took the Blade of St. Eleanor.
Yeah.
I chose not to because I didn't really want to take everything else that you have to take with it. But aside from that, yeah, on the whole.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So that one's probably one option or one example of a list that went up fairly and hasn't impacted it too much to a point where it's now going to be a bad list.
Yeah.
So, okay, overall, how are we feeling about these changes?
I don't know. I kind of feel like when we put it all into perspective, maybe not enough on some of these lists. But it's nice to see hopefully some diversity throughout. Time will tell. And obviously I'm looking forward to our members review tomorrow to see our predictions of where the factions are going to come in. Are they going to stay where they're at? So, really interested to see as a group how we feel like it all comes together.
Agreed.
Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this review and I don't know, do you agree with our comments? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments below. A lot of the stuff, obviously, what we've said is just our opinion and what we think. But yeah, we're really interested to find out what you think as well. Is it enough?
Let's find out.
See you on the next video.